Hey people in YouTube land, Zach back here with another Bible review that I want to bring you today. Today we're going to be looking at a awesome Bible. Of course, I think all of them are awesome. But today we're going to be looking at the Cambridge Concord, the normal size. And we're going to be taking a look at that, look at the features of it. And if you're interested in this Bible, I just want to give you a preview of what it would look like. And so getting started in this, you can see we have Holy Bible on the front there. It's done very nicely. I really like how Cambridge does that. It's very classy looking. And this edition is in the calf split leather. So you can see it's pretty flexible. Of course, I've had it for a while, so it's kind of been worked in. But this is a paste-off liner, as you can see. So it's not edge-lined with the leather on the inside. But it is tabbed in with some mesh here. So you can see there that it does have extra strength added to the book. But you can see here it's more of a pebbly grain. And it feels really nice in the hands. It's got a good grip to it. It's not slick. It's very easy to hold. Then on the side here, we're going to have the spine. You've got Holy Bible, King James Version. And then you've got Cambridge's logo. And then in between, you can kind of see the tooled hubs there. So, looks very nice and pronounced. And you can see from the times that I've used it, it's starting to get some wear up in the corner there, where it's a little bit more gray than it is black. And the calf split does wear out faster than the goat skin. So, we'll get into this. Of course, you can see again, that was a paste down liner. This is a vinyl liner. It's very tough though, very nice. And they do a very good job of gluing it down. You can see that's not coming up anywhere on the sides. It still is glued down really well. And then you can see right here, let that adjust real quick. It says calf split leather. And you can kind of see the mesh, the vinyl mesh here that runs up into this text block. That adds the extra strength to it. So here you have a presentation page, and Cambridge has very nice presentation pages. You have your family record section, marriages, grandchildren, marriages, and then last but not least you have deaths. And the deaths are going to be in black, whereas everything else is going to be in a nice dark blue. Then you got the title page here for the Cambridge Concord. And you can see down here, it is indeed the Concord, and it is a 8-point font. And it is a self-pronouncing edition as well. So opening this up here, you have the crown patent there, and you've got the way you can quote it in the United Kingdom. Then you can see here it's an 8-9 times semi-bold font, 421 there. It's printed down in the Netherlands by Youngblood. And it's got the contents here, and this Bible is just awesome as far as contents goes. And you can see all those at the end. It's a very good study Bible for those that may preach or like to study more in depth their Bible. And flipping the page again, we've got the way to use the self-pronunciation. So they give you a little graph there and shows you how that those words or those letters are pronounced with the marks above them. And it's got a little note on the Cambridge bold figure reference, and we'll get into that once we get into the actual text. Here's the epistle dedicatory to King James, the translators to the reader. Again, if you haven't read those, please do. They're awesome, awesome documents. And so this runs for about 18 pages. And if I can get there, we'll get to Genesis chapter 1. And then you're going to have your index here for all the books of the Bible and the page you start on. And get into, you got Genesis. And it's supposed to be an 8 to 9 point font. To be honest though, it looks a little bit bigger than that. And I'll show you what I mean. We'll get a good look at the text here. And then you can kind of see how the references work. So it's the same references as the Cambridge Concord wide margin, which I have right here. And I'll show you the text difference in the size, if I can open these both up here. So again, this is the same Bible, just with wider margins. I don't know if you can tell there, but the regular size Concord's font is a little bit bigger than the wide margins. And so it almost looks like a 10-point font in the Concord. This is actually an 8-point font in the wide margin. But I'll turn to Genesis so you can see that it's the same exact Bible. So you can see they're going to both start on page 1, of course. But then we've got the same references. So you see there at Genesis 1 it says Psalm 136:5, John 1:1 through 3, and so on and so forth. And we have the same references there. So it's used the exact same way. It's just this Bible without the margins. And so you can just kind of look at the difference there. So this is a very good carry combo. As you can see, the wide margin is really big. So there's my hand compared to the wide margin. And holding it, you can just see it flops, and it's a pretty big Bible. But then comparatively, you have you could say a hand-sized Concord, and it's really nice to carry. It's good hand-sized Bible to bring to church, to read out of. So that's something to take in consideration as well. But just looking through here, so you can see that it's nicely spaced. The words in between you can read very well. It's easy to underline in this Bible. The paper is a little bit thinner, obviously, than the wide margin, but you can write references and notes in the margin. I've done it before, and the paper will take it fine. The only thing that is sometimes the words run a little close in this gutter, but once you get it broken in, normally it's not an issue that I've noticed after I broke the Bible in. So just flipping through here, we'll go to Psalms. See how that's laid out. So this is Psalm 119. So you can see the underlines, and then we'll flip this way so you can see that the ghosting really isn't bad. And I'll try to find, yeah. So right there, and you can barely notice it. So this paper is very good for marking. And that's even with the ballpoint pen. Normally I would do it with a micron pen, so that it even doesn't bleed through as much as a ballpoint pen. One thing that did happen in this Bible, sadly for me, is this was my main Bible. And I brought it to work one day, and you can kind of see the gilting, kind of what happened there. Brought it to work one day, and I set it down, and then someone set a sanitizer rag full of wet sanitizer, obviously, next to the Bible, like this. And it soaked all the sanitizer into the pages. So you can kind of see here on the edge, all this water damage. And over here, it's all wrinkly along this side. The pages are a little bit harder to churn and bend, but you know, what are you going to do? You can't win them all. But, so here's the New Testament title page. We have the end of the prophets. That's the end of Malachi. You have the New Testament title page here. And I really love the Concord layout. It's my favorite style of Bible. The font is just so easy to read. It's so easily spaced. You have the references there if you want them. If you don't, it's very easy to just keep reading this Bible without ever checking the center column reference. The only time I do is if I really want to know if there's a cross-reference, or if I think of something and, oh, is there a note in the margin? Maybe I can read more about this verse. Other than that, there's no letters or numbers in the text besides, obviously, the verse numbers. But you don't see any like little A or a 1 or a 2. There's nothing. It's just tagged with the verse, and the reference will try to be as close as possible to the verse. So you see how close 4 is, see how close 5 is, and 6 is really close. And then over here, you have 15. So if the number is left justified, that means it's referencing something on the left column. And if it's right justified, then it's referencing something on the right column. And it'll be as close as possible to the verse that it corresponds with. So you can just see that 14, 13, 12. We've got verse 1 over here for chapter 4, and so on. It's just right down the list. Very easy to use and get used to if you're not used to this style. So there's a New Testament title page. We already looked at that. We've got Matthew, and we'll look at the self-pronunciation here. And just like most Bibles, it's only going to be the harder names. So Abraham, David, and Isaac, and names like that are not going to be have the self-pronunciation marks. And then let you know the different Greek and Hebrew renderings here are from the original 1611 translators. So it's not like these are critical of the text or anything. These are actually different things that the translators themselves thought could be in the text, or something that could give you a better understanding of what the text means. So those are really cool. I actually have an old 1611 Bible page, and on a lot of these, they're the exact same, even from 1611. So it's really cool. But so there's Matthew, and this is not a red letter edition. They do make a red letter if that's something that you do like. I believe on evangelicalbible.com it's a little bit more than the black letter. The black letter right now at Evangelical runs for $104, and I believe the red letter in this runs for $113. And I got this from a local bookstore actually, but I know that the cheapest place you can get this edition is evangelicalbible.com, and I recommend you check them out. They're a good company. They really do have some of the best prices for premium Bibles. And if that's something that you want to look into, I encourage you, evangelicalbible.com, and it would be under Cambridge and obviously under the King James section and the Concord. And this would be, again, black calf split, and you can either do red letter or black letter. They also have it in goat skin, just like the wide margin. And that was something I want to show you was that, so this is edge lined. You can see that how flexible this cover is compared to the calf split. So you can just roll that up. You can see it's got this synthetic flexible liner. It goes up into the text block, so it adds many, many years to the Bible, and then it just rolls back out. Whereas this one, you can see you can do it, but when you roll it back out, it's going to stick up. That's because this is just a harder leather. It's not cheap by any means. This is awesome. I actually prefer this leather over their goat skin. Their goat skin is super nice. It is, but again, especially with the wide margin, this thing's so floppy. So like you pick this up, and I mean, it just wants to waterfall right out of your hand. So it's kind of hard to hold. You normally have to hold this in your lap at church, and of course that is the wide margin. If you have this in goat skin, it's not as bad, but again, it's just something that you should be aware of. If you like a more structured Bible, the calf split is definitely the way to go, and I'll show you. Look at that. I mean, still high quality, but that is so easy to hold. It doesn't fold over your hands. I can point it to me. I can go like this. It's just awesome. I really do like the calf split. It's not cheaper if that's what you're thinking. I encourage you. These do last a long time, and Cambridge sends a guarantee with that every Bible that if it has any natural defects, so like if you're just using your Bible how you normally would, you're bringing it to church, you're just reading it, you're studying it, and something happens, so like this liner splits or some pages fall out, you can send it back to Cambridge or wherever you bought it from, and they will replace it for free and send you another copy. So, it's really nothing to be worried about if you do buy this one. This edition, they'll still last you a long time. And even if it doesn't, Cambridge does have a guarantee where you can send it back and get another one. So, it's a really nice deal. They really do take great care in their product, and they take great pride in what they produce. And that's why they're known as one of the best Bible publishers in the world. But getting back into this text, so we went over that it's not red letter, but you can get red letter, so it's just black, as you can see. I'll just give you a shot there of the New Testament. It's just awesome to read. I love this Bible so much. I know it'd be a blessing to someone out there too. Even if you have relatively bad eyesight, this is an easy Bible to read. While it has smaller font, it's not by any means a small print Bible, but it is a little bit smaller than normal. The spacing between the words that you can see on the page and the spacing between the verses and between the letters make it seem a lot bigger than it actually is. So that's why I'm saying it reads like a 10-point font. It is so easy to read on the eyes. It is just awesome to use. So if you're worried about maybe it's too small of a text, I encourage you to try it anyways, because it really reads bigger than you think it would. And it's probably even bigger than what's showing on camera, to be honest with you. So let's see here. I know I highlighted a couple places with some Z-Brite highlighters. So we'll take a look at that. And that's the highlighters I recommend if you do use highlighters in the Bible, Z-Brite. So you can see here, this is my favorite verse in the whole Bible. And it's 1 John 4:10. It says, "Herein is love, not that we love God, but that He loved us, and sent His Son to be the propitiation for our sins." So I just love that verse, that God would do that for us, that He would come in the flesh and die on the cross for our sins, that He gave Himself for us to show that He is love. And that we didn't love Him, but He had enough love to go and die for us anyways. And that's just a blessing. So I had a light blue Z-Brite highlighter there. And if we flip this over, you can see it kind of shows through, but really it's not that bad. And even in person, it's nothing that's going to distract you when you're reading through this passage again. And so I know that's kind of a problem. Sometimes you underline something and then you come back and read the same passage and it's like an eyesore. This is not a problem with the Cambridge Concord. The paper is so good, the font's so bold that you really can't notice it. I mean, even back here, you can't notice it at all. So that's nothing really to worry about as long as you use the correct pens on it. It'll treat you well. And then something that's cool that both the wide margin and this normal size Concord have is they have a glossary of terms. So these are words that maybe we don't use every day in English anymore, being as this is the King James. But a lot of these words, you know, like ghost. I mean, that's not really a hard word to understand even in modern day, but they do have it. It is useful. There are some words that, you know, maybe you won't know, but it's nice to have just in case. So there's that, and that runs for, I think, 6 or 7 pages. But the really cool thing about this Bible, so we have the concordance in New and Old Testaments, same as the wide margin. So this is the same exact Bible, except for one thing, and let me see if I can get there, is that this Bible has a Bible dictionary. And that's probably the coolest feature of this Bible. So we'll get back here real quick. Okay, so it's a concise Bible dictionary. And honestly, this is almost like a small Bible degree in a book, a college degree. I mean, it really is. There's so many things. So you go here, Aaron, and it is going to give you like almost every reference that he's listed, who he is, who he's related to, what was his purpose, did God use him? Of course, we know that Aaron was the high priest, but then it's just got different things. It's got places. It has names, proper names, different battles, different books of the Bible, even, and you can just see. I mean, names and titles of Christ in the Gospels and Acts, and look how long that is. There's just so much study material back here. And it is awesome. And it does also has charts and other things back here that deal with the Bible and the apostles and different things. It's awesome. This is a great study Bible. If you're looking for something to get more in depth into the Word of God, I encourage you to look no further than the Concord. This Bible is just awesome. And even with this, it has a glossary for old terms, old English terms. It has a concordance that is about 128 pages. It also has a Bible dictionary that's about the same amount of pages. So, and there's all the books of the Bible. So it has who they were written by, when they were written, the purpose of the book. But this keeps going on and runs for about 100 and, I think it was, 28 pages. So you have a glossary of old terms, so that you can know them. You have a Bible concordance, that's 128 pages, and you have a Bible dictionary, that's 128 pages. That is a lot of study reference and materials to think about any topic you want to study out. And yet look at how thin this Bible is. Now, granted, you got to take into consideration this does have water in the pages, so it's going to look a little bit thicker than it actually would if you bought it. So at the end there, it's going to be a little bit thicker. But this is almost an inch thick. It's just a little bit over an inch thick. And it's got all of those study materials in it. It's just awesome. And then also we're going to have, of course, in the Cambridge you have the map index, and then their awesome maps. So there's that. And it's got a cardstock page you can use for writing whatever you want. And then you've got the paste off liner. And just look how flat this Bible lays. And I can promise you, I've had this Bible for a couple of years now. I can promise you that this is the exact same way it will lay right out of the box. Cambridge does a great job with their stitching and with their Bibles on this. And just to show you, I mean, you can do the same thing in the front here. I mean, opens right up, no problems. I mean, if you wanted to, you could preach right from the cover page. And of course, I say that jokingly, but I mean, here we'll even go to Genesis. And another good thing about having the epistle dedicatory and the translators to reader, and this kind of sounds fleshly, is that it's more paper, so it does hold the cover down. So, you know, you've got 20-something pages before you even get to Genesis. So that kind of helps hold the cover down, but even in this Cambridge, it's not an issue. And so you can see there's Genesis, it lays perfectly flat. And this is equipped with 2 nice lightweight ribbons, and I love these ribbons from Cambridge. They're awesome ribbons. Some people don't like them because they're lightweight. I like them because they are. They don't damage the paper, and they're actually pretty wide, and they get the job done. And they're long enough to reach the edge and flip the book, and you know, they do a good job. And then you have the signature head and tail bands here from Cambridge, the red and yellow. You can see how the ribbons are put in there. But this just overall is an awesome Bible. A good hand size, carry everywhere Bible. And if you want, you can get the combo. You can get the wide margin and the regular size, and they'll last you a lifetime. You know, for King James, for Cambridge, this is what they do. So the Concord is the main series for the King James. So you'd have the normal Concord, you'd have the wide margin Concord, and that's the set. Now for the modern versions, and again, I don't read those, but for people who might be watching the video, it will be the Pip Minion. So if you want to know about that, that's something I have the Pip Minion review on my channel. The Cambridge for the modern versions for the ESV and ASB and the New King James did the Pip Minion as the smaller Bible, and then a wide margin Pip Minion. And so that's going to be a little bit different than the Concord. The Concord is a verse by verse, whereas the Pip Minion is paragraph, double column. And the Pip Minion has a lot smaller font, but the wide margin has a pretty good font. So if you're interested in King James, I encourage you, get these both. Make a set where you can, you know, write notes in this Bible and pass them down to your children, or you know, where you can study out of it. And I mean, the paper in this is just amazing. I mean, you can see I take a lot of notes in there, and the bleed through's not bad, the ghosting's not bad, the paper's super thick. But you know, you don't always want to carry this big book around all the time. So there's a good thing where it has the same page numbers. So let's see here. We're at, oh, pretty close actually, John 4. That's page 108. We're at page 105 here. So a couple more pages over. There's 108, and we see that verse 18 is at the top there. Verse 18 is at the top over here. So it's just a really good combo to carry. And if you're interested in this, I encourage you to go to evangelicalbible.com and look at them. They have the best prices for these Bibles, especially Cambridge. They're going to be at the lowest cost, but you know, there's nothing wrong with them. They're perfectly fine, and they'd last you a lifetime. And so I encourage you, if you do want one, go get one. If you have any more questions, please leave it in the comments down below, and I will answer it to the best of my knowledge, or I'll try to find out something for you if you have a question that I don't know off the top of my head. And if you like this video, I encourage you, just press the like button or subscribe, and you can check out my other reviews, and I hope they're a blessing to you. Anyways, I hope you have a great day, and God bless.